What's up, everybody? It wouldn't be a day that ends in Y without Star Wars fans getting upset about something, and the Acolyte has come back as the cause of that. Before we get into today's video, make sure to subscribe so you're always up to date with the happenings in the nerdy world. But enough from me, let's get into this drama. This stems from the 2024 Disney Plus numbers getting released, which revealed that The Acolyte received the second highest viewership for the platform. But, as fans do, a lot of people just took that and ran with it as a reason to get hashtag renew the Acolyte going again when it isn't really the win it seems to be. And before anybody says, "Oh, you're a hater," go watch my breakdowns. I was incredibly fair and honest about the show, and I really didn't hate all that much. But anyway, The Acolyte had over 2.7 billion minutes viewed over its 8 episodes. That's a great number at face value, but when you start comparing it to other streaming shows and take into consideration what the show was supposed to do for both Star Wars and Disney Plus, it's a different story. I think a fair comparison to make with this show, and if you think I'm wrong about this being fair, let me know down in the comments below, but I think it is fair, and it's Fallout, which streamed on Prime Video. It hauled in nearly 8 billion minutes watched, about 6 billion more than The Acolyte. But that's not necessarily all on The Acolyte. A major factor in streaming numbers is just flat out how many people actually have the service, and it feels like that's rarely taken into account in these discussions. In this case, Disney Plus had around 117.6 million subscribers, Prime Video was up around 180 million, so they did have more, and both got smashed by the streaming giant Netflix, which climbed to about 277 million subscribers in the second quarter of 2024, and I used that as the landmark as both shows were running during those months of Q2, April, May, and June. But that's not the entire story. Focusing in on The Acolyte now, that show was made not only to introduce a new and hopefully very successful and fresh era in the galaxy far, far away into at least the TV and movie era it's been in the books, but with that, there was absolutely an expectation, I think, that it would bring in record numbers or at least awards like Andor did. The Acolyte failed in both those regards as Disney Plus only brought in about 6 million new subscribers during Q2, and that's still less than Netflix, and I just said they had 277 million already when Disney Plus was like 150 million behind, so their growth being bigger, that's quite concerning. And you have to remember also that X-Men 97, their fifth biggest show, which that's an impressive feat for an animated series, had some time in there too to drive that up. That's what separates The Acolyte from Andor. Both were very different from anything we'd seen in Star Wars, and so I guess by definition they both were fresh stories and stuff, but I don't know. Both have their hardcore fans, but I'd say Andor does have more fans that are willing to meet you in the middle on stuff, and most importantly, both were expensive as shit. Andor Season 1 was over $250 million, and Season 2, don't get me started, plug your ears, OG fans, it's gonna cost about $300 million, while The Acolyte cost $230 million, and that's actually $50 million over budget. So, when it brings no awards in, and underperforms, it gets cancelled. It's as simple as that. Even Andor took a hit before it won its awards, dropping from 5 seasons to just 2. So yes, while coming in second for Disney Plus is impressive in its own contained story, that narrative breaks down pretty fast, and it can actually break down even more if you look at The Mandalorian Season 3, which brought in 7.5 billion views as the so-called worst season of the show. In my opinion, with The Acolyte, I don't think it was that tough of a decision for them to make, and I know that sucks to hear for fans of the show. I'd hate it if, The Mandalorian got canceled or Ahsoka or Andor. I would hate it. But when your show fails at doing its job, just like if you fail at doing your job, you're done. Then we also got some news regarding the Rey movie as they finally announced a writer to replace Stephen Knight, and that's George Nolfi. I gotta be honest, I've never heard of this dude before, and I've only heard of the franchises he's written for, a Bourne movie and an Oceans movie, because of how big those franchises are in their own respects. Nolfi most recently penned The Banker, a 2020 movie with a stacked cast of Samuel L. Jackson, Anthony Mackie, and Nicholas Hoult, and I do think I'm gonna have to check that one out. It sounds pretty damn good, but this kind of just seems like a move where you go and you get a veteran writer to just touch things up, or fix a portion of the story. I really hope this guy is not rewriting the whole thing. But it also, and I don't want to sound like a hater here, for the sake of the fandom, I do truly hope this movie is good, but this move just doesn't inspire hope. Not like the Sean Levy move does, not like the James Mangold move does. It's just Star Wars isn't something that you can, go in one day and just sign a contract out of nowhere and just write it. You gotta know it, you gotta feel it in your bones, and I don't get that vibe here. And so that'll do it for today's video. There's just not much for me to say about the Rey movie. I don't want to be a hater. It's not what I'm trying to do here on the channel, but I am very concerned about it, to be quite honest, and Star Wars fans, they're just going to be Star Wars fans as far as the Acolyte concerned. It's just another loud minority yapping about something they want back, kind of like, you know what? Never mind. Let me know if you think the Acolyte should have been renewed, though, down in the comments below, and make sure you have a great day.